cracking? It is January 2024, and Congress doesn't get back in session until next week. Which I found that out by talking to my rep's office today. I was not happy. So, while the world burns, and I can assure you, I couldn't give two shits about what the rest of the world was doing. I'm concerned about what happens from shore to shore here. Now, Johnson proclaimed that, the time off would be on hold until we got things done, yada yada. So, just another pretty dressed up rhino, and of course all the Democrat bullshit about MAGA Jr., Trump, whatever the crap all that mess was. Has been proven to be quite untrue. I don't know why they panicked. The Republicans deserve their well-earned, reputation of being, probably on the right moral ground and not in most cases, but yet with the backbone of a jellyfish at best, and that might be an insult to jellyfish. So, look, I don't know, man. I know that Congress is supposed to move slowly, and that's because the choices the decisions they make have an effect on lots of people. But some things have to get done. And I don't believe that Congress should have been out of session until we got the border squared away. Now, I think if you support Ukraine or Israel or Palestine, the still Philistines, but they changed their name in the 80s or 70s because of the reputation of the Philistines, and yet they kept on doing the same thing. And you're talking about two people who have been fighting since before written history was a thing, and will continue until the end of mankind at some point in time, or one of them actually makes a decision to genocide the other, and that's when that'll end, not a second before. Now there might be somebody like Trump, if he gets reelected, who can talk them into not slaughtering each other at such a rampant rate, but it's only got a few years and they'll go back to business as usual. That they seem rapidly opposed to each other existing. Whatever. I think they're both shit, so piss on them. It is what it is. That's my opinion. To put that right on down in your Charlie's opinion book, I guess. On the home front, we've got who actually thinks that the interest rates, or what do they call it, inflation rates are at only 7%. So here's the qualification. If your IQ starts with a decimal point, raise your hand. Okay, there we go. So the average cost of the foods that I like to eat have gone up about 40%. Gas is up 30%. Is it only 30% right now? It's like 35, 40% right now. Utilities are up, even though I've made some improvements to the home. Regarding insulation and stuff. It was already a really well insulated home, but I went ahead and had the basement, I forget what they call it, but essentially it's compartmentalized, right? So it's completely enclosed. I can get into it, obviously, but it's completely enclosed from the ground and the sides and all that jazz. And, whatever. But nobody, okay, and let's consider this. The inflation rate on housing, on the interest rates, is tripled. So it's up 300%. Got a cousin of mine who wants to move back to Tennessee, and he's not willing to literally double his mortgage payment because of the interest rate on mortgages. And who the hell can blame him? I wouldn't do that either. Hadn't been to the last couple of council meetings, and just I don't see any headway being made. I don't see the common sense being even remotely considered, and this is what they do, and this is why they don't want it to be interactive via the web. They want to claim that the First Amendment can be blah blah blah, this way, that way, the other. Well, I'm telling you that anybody with more than 28 seconds of law school can see that's absolute bullshit. They don't want to have interactive council meetings because then they actually get interaction with citizens who they're supposed to be accountable to. And so once they, now they had the Zoom meetings and all that, during the COVID shamdemic. And as soon as that was over, I guess due to the fact of them actually having interaction, then the stupidity went wild because now they didn't have to face all those people again. But I've been going for the last, I don't know, roughly a year, more or less, and what I see is a total about-face from common sense. Everybody knows that if you don't build a foundation, that your house is going to go to crap, and these people in this town don't seem to stay your ass, dude. These people don't seem to understand or care about that. And I actually want to do some statistics research on accidents and all that happy stuff. Things along those lines. See what the increase rate is. Because we haven't had an actual road expansion, rather a widening of the road to accommodate more traffic since 2003 or 4, maybe 5, but I want to say 2003 or 2004 in this city. Despite the fact that we've had additional people coming in. And I remember the population in this city being about 5,000 big. I think it was like 5,700, somewhere along that line when I was in high school. And we're now a hair over 40,000 people. So we've multiplied the population times 8. We haven't done proper accommodations and infrastructure. And by infrastructure, I mean electricity. There should be more substations. We haven't run new water pipes. We keep on splicing. Off the existing mains and losing pressure. My water pressure in my house is about, I don't know, I'll call it somewhere between 20 and 30% of what it was when I originally moved there. Gas lines, we need to quit splicing. We need to run new dedicated. The people who laid the town out and the infrastructure grids laid it out for a certain size, for a certain population. Well, you should never run it more than 50% capacity. To do so is just being an idiot. Here's why. We have extreme heat every now and again. We have extreme cold every now and again. And it's not really extreme. I've been through worse. But during those periods of time, you're going to, double your usage, which is why you're never supposed to use more than 50% capacity during normal times. It's not hard math, but these idiots would rather just slap houses up everywhere and say, piss on it, we'll go back and do it later, when it's actually harder to do so, because then it gets like, oh wait, shit, we got houses in the way. But we didn't do it the right way because we're greedy idiots with no idea what we're actually doing in the logistics math of the dead at best. Now we had another school shooting here this last day or so. Turns out this guy was yet another trans person, and I don't know if it was a guy or a girl. I think it was a guy, and I don't give a shit. If they want to misgender themselves, they can. I'm not going to. There are exactly 2 genders, and apparently there's a plethora of variants of gender dysphoria, and I'm not willing to acknowledge what you want to call yourself for the same reason I don't acknowledge the persons and the people's voices in a schizophrenic ears. They don't exist. And of course, first thing that the Biden admin does is try and jump all over rights. mean, if you want to at any given time, we can have a discussion about rights and what they actually mean, the difference between rights and privileges. So, and here's a quick example, and it makes it really easy. Okay, you have a right to free travel in this country. Okay? It is a privilege to drive a car. Why? Well, they need to know that you're qualified to drive the car. You got to understand that you're driving, pick the weight, but anywhere between 2,000 and 80,000 pound missile. So you need to be qualified to drive that. So I back that play on it. But there's a difference there. Your right to bear arms has no limitations. There were limitations set on things in the drawing up of the Constitution. There are certain people who can't hold office. The Fourth Amendment for violating your privacy, it has to be, they either have to literally observe a crime in progress or have to get a warrant from a judge. Okay? So the exceptions are listed. There are no exceptions. There are no qualifications for your right to bear arms. You're a citizen of the United States. There is your qualification for your right to bear arms. It is that simple, and anybody who tries to read something else into it is simply trying to be manipulative. But surely they meant, no they didn't, idiot, because they said shall not be infringed for a very specific reason, because what governments do, most people don't understand this. The government, your government, our government, is the most likely to infringe, right? Because they'll come up, they'll dream up qualifications, they'll dream up reasons why you shouldn't be able to defend yourself. The greatest threat in any country is always going to be the government. Always, 100% with zero exceptions. Why? Because they extort you. Up until the early 1900s, we kept 100% of our money. I believe that the only tax that was paid was like property tax or something, or maybe like food, and I'm trying to think of what it is. You know, a goods tax. You know, where you go to the store or whatever. But we kept everything else. We had a standing army, standing navy, all of that. And we didn't know anybody anything. And then I'm going to try and think of when this happened, and somebody might probably have to fill this gap for me. But when it was the government started subsidizing people to not grow, right? So they would actually pay you more than you would make for raising crops, not to raise crops. And what this did was give other countries a foothold in the food market. So we, and I want to say it lasted a bit over a generation, probably 20, maybe 30 years, where you could make more on your land by literally doing nothing. Of course, now smart people would raise cattle on their land, right? And so not only did you get paid not to grow your crops, then you got to have a larger income by, raising cattle and such. So don't grow tobacco, don't grow corn, don't grow beans of any kind, tomatoes, et cetera, yada yada, and get paid for it. Meanwhile, we bring other countries into the produce market, and eventually what happens is what happens this town. This used to be a highly agricultural town. The reason we had about 5,000 people here is because there was like a lot of farmers. I was one of them. But now it's all being subdivided out. And apparently there's several different ratings of home plots, and I want to make them all, 3 or 5 acres. But city wants to get the tax money, which is, yet again, they take my money from me every year, and I rarely see anything of value for it. And we take in a lot of tax money. So I'm curious as to where that money has gone, because I don't see anything. We're taking all this money, spending all this money. Why in the hell don't I see things? Why don't we have road improvements? Knows we need them. Why don't we have a better lighting system? And as far as traffic lights go, why don't we have these set timers instead of reactive lights, right? And better yet, after 7 o'clock, let's take it back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s when I was growing up, when after 7 o'clock, they were all yellow or flashing yellow or flashing red. I mean, this town's dead after 7. Always has been. Town right up the road, Hermitage, a higher population. They have never gone off the blinking yellow, blinking red. There's no point in it. There's no need to. It's just more, road bandit crap. I don't think that a lot of the stuff that is done here is done out of malice. I think it's done out of more like a malpractice, or I don't know. And now we've got these damn things that read your license plate, without you committing a crime, which is clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. And I've raised hell about that. And I think they kind of look at me when I come in and go, "Oh Lord, it's him again." They literally ask me now, "So, are you going to chew our asses again?" Yeah. Please stop giving me reasons to chew your asses. It's not like I want to. I want to come in and actually praise you. You're going to mess around and make me run for one of these offices. And I don't want to. My plan right now is to probably run for mayor. Mayors have a lot of pull. Most people think that the city council actually matters. It doesn't. People think they do. They don't. Mayor can flush them at any point in time. The problem here is that we have a gutless mayor. And I don't think he's the brightest star in the sky either. Sharpest knife in the drawer, whatever you want to call it. I don't think badly of him as a person. I think badly of him for holding the office he holds. He doesn't do a very good job. He doesn't say no nearly enough. And in all honesty, that should be an elected official's main job is saying no. No, we can't do this. Elected official, well, okay. I can make this a 2-hour thing. I'm not going to. I wish all of you to have a blessed day. Love y'all. Be careful out there. I am really, really not happy with the way things are going in this country right now. It's like I told the fella at my rep's office. Jeffrey Dahmer has got more validity as a babysitter than the mainstream media has got as a news source. It's rough, man. It is rough. Peace out.